Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Fresh Baked, and in our continuing effort to keep you up to date on what's happening with Disneyland and the Disney Company, we have new information that came up available yesterday that might just be optimistic. Monday, we reported that the state might just be backing down from its position that counties must be in the yellow tier before they will start to reopen theme parks. They were supposed to announce guidelines to this effect last Friday, but Disney and other theme parks objected and asked the state to hold off announcing those guidelines until they could be consulted, until theme park operators could be brought into that conversation. No announcement was made on Friday, and there still hasn't been one, so one can only assume that that's exactly what the state has done. They are talking with theme park operators and other stakeholders. Since then, we have a new report from the Orange County Health Agency, and in it, they recommend that Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm be allowed to reopen when the county hits the orange tier. Mind you, I should say right off the top, this is the Orange County Health Agency, not the LA County Health Agency, so they're not going to speak toward Universal and their ability, but I'm sure that whatever comes of this, it'll be for the entire state, not just for Orange County. Now, before we break down what this really means, we first must come to the understanding that the Orange County Health Agency is not intimately involved in setting the guidelines. They are not the final word on whether or not parks should be reopened. This is only their opinion, their own recommendation. In fact, I think it might be safe to assume that they've been working outside of the state's operators, the state's own scientific advisory committee, or whatever you want to call it. They've been working outside of that, but rather working with Disneyland and theme parks, other theme parks, in order to give them guidance and even to advocate for them like they are today. So by no means should anybody consider this to be some kind of green light for the parks to open. Now that this agency has said that, we should all be good. This is by no means that, even though that's the way it's being framed by some reports. But what it can be is cover for the state to change its initial assessment from the yellow tier. I've said before that it would be pretty difficult for the state to simply change its course, go from yellow to orange without having any sort of backup for that move. In order to protect the legitimacy of their original opinion. In fact, even to protect the fact that it's taken them this long to say anything at all, they need to hear from some sort of scientific authority, somebody who has clout in this matter. I can imagine a scenario where when asked why they would have made this decision or made this change, they could lean on the position, the advice of the Orange County Health Agency or something to that effect. They need to be able to back up their change with something scientific. And one could even point to the most recent update from the California Health Secretary, Mark Ghaly, who seems to have said that they're bringing in more opinions with relation to the guidelines. During his Q&A session yesterday, he was asked by an OC Register reporter, when should we expect guidelines? And he answered.
We're working closely with a number of the direct operators of theme parks and also the overall agency or organization representing theme parks. I'm not sure when those conversations wrap up. I will tell you that they will wrap up as soon as we come to really hear the industry and understand some of the concerns, and we continue to look at the data and information that we have. So no promise of a specific date, but I will say as soon as possible.
Now, while he didn't give a date, saying only that it would be as soon as possible, which we've heard before, he did appear to concede that they are now doing so with the cooperation of theme parks and the people that represent them. This could be inferred as maybe CAPA, or it could be the Orange County Health Agency. And then, surprisingly, he continued.
But broader than that, really looking at the impact that the sector of theme parks really has on broader communities, on the surrounding neighborhoods and the workplaces and the industry around, and how this isn't just about one piece, it's about the entire community, and having dialogue with not just those operators, but others who both have a stake in what happens with this guidance, but also have a responsibility to reduce the risk for so many people from California who might visit a theme park down in the future.
Now, I find this comment to be interesting, if only because we haven't really heard them talk like this at all since all of this began. He seems to be saying either that the state has just now come to the conclusion that this is more than just about whether or not Disneyland and other theme parks are open. That there is the matter of all the constituents outside of the theme park that have a stake in whether or not the parks are open. How all of this has a ripple effect throughout the county, not just the theme park, but the businesses around the county and the people that work there. And really, the city, the county, and the state, on all levels, things are affected. He's either saying that, or he's reminding the OC Register reporter that this is the case, as if anybody needs to be reminded of this. People have been, many voices have been saying this to the state for many weeks now, that the time is now to make some sort of decision on this matter. Either way, it's at least an acknowledgement that this isn't just about the bottom line of theme parks, but the bottom line of all the businesses and all the people that are affected throughout the county. Having said all of that, there is no date. There's not even a date for guidelines. But I will say this. I do believe very strongly that when the guidelines are issued, it'll be for the orange tier, not the yellow. Which brings us to this final update. Orange County is still in the red. Another week has gone by and we're still in the red, which makes this is not a slam dunk. Just getting the orange tier isn't the final answer to this. The county still hasn't met even those guidelines for reopening theme parks. And we'll probably have to be in orange, stay in orange for a few weeks at least, even when that date does come along. They're not just gonna snap their fingers and green light us the first time we're in orange. It's gonna be a while before we can actually get the parks open once we're in orange. This, of course, is necessary to remove that scenario, or to minimize the likelihood of that scenario where we go from red tier to orange, then back to red again, then back to orange, and that would be a political nightmare for that to happen. So they want to make sure that the county is in a healthy state, whatever state that must be, either orange or yellow. But it's all speculation right now. This is all we're doing right now, is talking and hoping and waiting. We're on standby for those guidelines from the state of California. So stay tuned to Fresh Baked to be sure that you're caught up with how things are going. Subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications so that you know when we have an update for you. Otherwise, you can follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, or on Twitter at FreshBakedDizzy. That's fresh with no E. Likewise, subscribe to us on Fresh Baked Presents, our sister channel here on YouTube, where we do live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, sometime in the afternoon, where we talk about whatever's happening in the world of Disney and in the world of theme parks in general. So otherwise, thank you guys very much for watching. Stay kind to one another, stay safe, remember that we love you, and Fresh Baked